All right, y'all. Welcome back. It is game day. Mississippi State. I mean, this is a game that some people think that we're just going to blow them out. I feel like this one's going to be a little bit tougher than some people think. It's SEC on the road. Can Coach Heupel get over those like road woes? How is Joey Aguilar going to do? What are the challenges? So on and so forth. Of course, we're going to have y'all covered today. Thank y'all so much for joining us. Please make sure to like and subscribe to the channel. And we got it started a little bit later. Of course, as y'all know, my nephew and P's son, he's playing football. So on Saturdays, once the game ends, then we can kind of get things started up. But family always comes first. Thank y'all for your Thank you for your patience. But let's go ahead and get into this piece. So the first thing that I want to talk about, just like straight out the gate, is with the injuries. So we'll hop on over to that right now. And this is how the injury thing looked last night that came out. There's a couple things that came out here just like very, very recently. This is one of the positive things about starting the show, like pregame show a little bit later on, is that you get more information leading up to kickoff. So number one, and I'm getting this from VolQuest, so this is Austin Price. He's saying that Arion Carter has turf toe. He is going to play, but how's he going to move? I mean, turf toe, obviously that's a pretty serious deal. So that is not a good look. But Austin Price is saying that he thinks that Jaden Harmon is going to get more snaps. I think that both of the Jadens need to be getting more snaps. Those guys needed it anyway. So, that's number one. That's huge because we'll talk about it. But last season versus Mississippi State, you have a light box with the field spread out very, very wide. You got to be able to stop the run well, like the run fits, your eyes. Having a veteran out there is probably more of what you want, but hopefully those young players can step up for us. And also, Austin Price is curious about how many snaps is Jackson Moore going to get. He's saying 15 to 20. P, what do you think Jackson Moore is going to do out there? Like how many snaps do you think he's going to be able to give us today?
Yeah, I would say that's probably about right. I mean, I don't think you're going to push him too hard, especially with that tricep deal. It's kind of one of those like soft tissue type things or whatever. So you just don't want to be too crazy. It's his first game back. I think you put him out there, see how it feels. But yeah, I don't think he gets anything more than like 20, maybe 25 snaps. I mean, you're not going to really try to push him too hard, I don't think.
Yeah, and that's another spot. I mean, again, versus this type of an offense, the people that play inside of the box, the defensive linemen, linebackers, you really need to have dudes out there because you're having to stop the run with pretty much like less numbers or almost equal numbers. It's very tough to do. So have to watch out for that. Now, also, he's talking about Campbell maybe getting more snaps playing at tackle. I like what he's done. I like what Ethan Utley's done. I like what, Robinson's done. So I think that some of the young players that have had to step up so far, I mean, they should be ready for this moment, right? Like, yes, it's SEC. Yes, it's on the road. It's the first time. But at least they've gotten out there. So I feel pretty confident with how that's going to look. And then also he's saying that maybe David Sanders, of course, he is going to be ready kind of to play, but he's going to be more of like, if we really need him out there, he's not going to be starting. But I'm curious how many like reps and how many snaps he's going to get. But P, what are your thoughts there?
Yeah, I think he'll be similar to Jackson Moore. I think you definitely want him to get in there if he can and just at least feel it. Even if it is SEC team on the road, whatever. If you get in a good situation where you think, hey, let's give this guy some reps, you absolutely got to get him some reps. I mean, he's got to play at some point. So yeah, if he can go, man, you get him a series or 2 or 3. You know what I mean? Let's see what he's got.
Yeah, absolutely. So both of the 2 players that we just talked about, Jackson Moore, David Sanders, they're listed as probable right now, but they will be playing. David Sanders, he can play, like we just said. But over here, the players that are out, Ethan Davis is out. We already know about our cornerbacks. David Hobbs, he's out. We talked about that. Ra, he's a backup wide receiver. Marion Dow, that one's pretty big. Morris, I don't think that's not too big of a deal. Neither is Barnes. That's 2 like backup running backs. But Marion Dow, with him being out, at strong side end, I think he's looked really good, P. I mean, he's only a freshman, but man, he was really starting to flash. We need him back as soon as possible, hopefully for the Arkansas game. They are getting, drugged right now by Notre Dame, but that really doesn't mean anything for our game coming up. You need guys who can set the edge, who can rush the passer. But do you think that we're deep enough there, P? I mean, like we've got several players, but do you think that it's just going to be 2 guys, or do you think that there's some other guys that we could throw out there too?
Well, I think that actually brings you back to Jackson Moore, and you look at it, you say, well, heck, if Moore can give you a few more reps on the inside, then you can use Don Bailey more as that strong side end with Tyree with the 2 Tyrees. So, looking at that, I didn't think about that, but looking at that, I do think Jackson Moore, I mean, I mean, if he can go, I think they're gonna let him play. I mean, they're gonna let him play and see how it feels because like I said, I mean, because who's your next edge guy or D end after Marion Down? I mean, is it
I would say probably Carson Gentle. That's
yeah.
kind of like how I feel, maybe.
Yeah, Carson Gentle, or maybe you can bring one of those Leos over and let them get a few reps. I mean, I don't know,
Yeah.
but yeah, I mean, I think they're going to try to roll with those top three guys, Dom and the Tyrese, and then see how much Jackson can give you on the inside. I think.
Yeah, and that's an excellent point. You know, whenever you get more people back, that's one of the things about this staff goes out and targets versatile players. I don't think that they brought in Don Bailey, but even still, that's why you target the versatile players who can do multiple things because this is a game of injuries. Now, Tennessee's injuries looks a lot worse than anybody else's. You know what I'm saying? Like if you just kind of like scroll through, their stuff doesn't look anything like ours, but we still have. I think that this is probably. Oh, well, looky here. So Georgia's got some folks out. This one's going to hurt them. Ernest Green, offensive tackle. I'm telling you, watch out for that daggum Tide. And then, of course, theirs is about how Tennessee's is. But outside of that, I mean, everyone else is definitely less than Tennessee's. So let's talk about Mississippi State because they have three guys out. This linebacker here, number 16, he's one of their best players as far as space goes for linebackers. Number 7, he's also pretty good, so he can go today. But that is a blow for them. And then you have Will Whitson. He's a defensive tackle. He's leading the team in sacks. He's pretty twitchy. That's a pretty big blow for them. And then you have a backup offensive tackle here in Blake Steen, who he's gotten reps. Like they like to rotate, especially tackles. So they don't have, I mean, somebody's going to probably have a longer day than what they typically do. So it's not just Tennessee. I still feel like we are the more talented team, and that we should be able to pull this thing out. But with all that being said, I want to go on ahead and jump into first and foremost Tennessee's defense versus Mississippi State's offense. This is where I think this is probably like the biggest question mark for me. Right, this is the biggest matchup, especially understanding if you go back and think about that like injury list. Most of those players are on defense. Arion Carter being probably the best linebacker that we have right now. Him having a turf toe. I mean, how is that going to look? Tennessee, I mean, just like looking at this, we're losing in most of these categories. Now, Mississippi State's strength of schedule is not like Tennessee's. They haven't really played anybody except for Arizona State, who did get a win last night. So that win looks pretty good for them. But this is the SEC. It's a different level. We all know that. So let's go on ahead and break down their, defense some. Let's break down their offense some, and let's talk about like maybe what the expectations should be for Tennessee fans. So pulling this thing up, number one, within their running game is always about stopping the run first. We talked about those really wide splits, just like Tennessee. They run inside zone the most. That's just running straight up the middle. They run that 25% of the time. What you'll notice is that their running backs, they run into a brick wall sometimes, so they're not getting a whole lot of push. They will bounce it to the outside. They've got some big guys like this kid, like this kid here. He's like 230, so tough to tackle those guys in one-on-one situations. And then after that, they're running outside zone at 24%. You're just trying to get to the outside. I think that they run this pretty well. Their running backs are showing patience. Their offensive line does a good job of, just like setting up blocks and opening up holes and lanes and things like that. But yeah, this is something that Tennessee, we're going to have to do a good job with our safeties. It's not just linebackers, so on and so forth. So next at 21%, it's man blocking. That's just a hat on a hat. They love to do this, especially with kind of like quarterback, almost like option plays, right? Like you'll see the quarterbacks running a lot more out of that. And then we have counters. So that's, hey, we've shown you that we're running to one side this whole time. Well, now we're going to show it that we're almost running there, but then we come back to the other side. You're going to have some power elements to counter always. And this is power whenever you have some lead blockers. Now, right here, y'all, let me actually pause this for you, okay? Because this is big. These are the routes that they run the most. Okay, so mostly hitches, 36.7%. And then after that, we have to worry about goals. So that's just vertical routes. And then after that, it's just those wide screens. So understand that with this offense, it's just like how Tennessee ran it last year. What we're doing now is really a totally different ball game. Mississippi State, they haven't really changed up what they're doing too much, but this is how their hitches look. You have to run that based off of the choice routes. If you're playing deep, they've got to try to throw it underneath. They're doing this the most. You got to come up and freaking tackle. A lot of times it's going to be isolations with cornerbacks, right? So the cornerbacks, you got to have good open field tackling. Look out for that. I hope that we've worked on it because it hasn't been great over these past several weeks. Now, after that, vertical passes. Right here, you're seeing the hitch is coming off of that. If you don't have your eyes disciplined, if you are trying to cheat, you're going to get beat, and you're going to get beat badly to have wide receivers that can absolutely freaking fly. One of their guys over like 23 miles per hour, which is crazy. Same exact thing here, where with the choice routes, you're going to have one that just makes the space. Here, it's the hitch, and then you have the vertical. This is switch routes. I'm concerned about this because, P, we have not covered this very well over the course of the year. So with the switch routes, it's the same thing. You have a there's something that you're supposed to do. I don't know how we're coaching it, but you've got to make sure that you're doing it. And then we also have these double moves. So if you're isolated one-on-one, if you're playing off coverage, expect a hitch and go, or like expect some sort of a stop and go. And if you're up at the line of scrimmage, then have to expect that they're going to try to throw the football vertically. That's a big part of this offense. And then obviously wide screens. They have a lot of different ways that they can get this done. And we already know exactly how this looks, right? I mean, you got to come up, you got to set the edge properly, play with good fundamentals, and you have to make the tackles. We have to do that. We have to flow over right, so on and so forth. Now, this is the veer and shoot killer. That's what we run. That's what Mississippi State runs. They run it more like, a true veer and shoot. Tennessee has done. We have a lot more pro style elements. All you got to do, and this is like the first drive, P, of Mississippi State versus NIU last weekend, where they're showing all this deep stuff. You got to keep on going underneath. It messed them up on that opening drive where they were still able to score. But, running the football, you're showing all these people deep. There's folks that are dedicated to come down to the box late. This is the key. This is what I hope that Coach Tim Banks does in this game, because we know that this will stop this offense. So will we play them straight up like we did last season? Hopefully not. But that's how the offense looks. Or I'm sorry, that's how the defense looks. Or wait a second.
You're right. Offense. That's their offense. Yeah.
Offense. Yeah. So that's how the offense looks. But I think that Tennessee's defense will be able to step up. We have to be able to, manufacture pressure. I don't expect for us to blitz too much unless we're playing it with that veer and shoot killer. But P, what are your thoughts just in looking at Mississippi State's offense today?
Yeah, I mean, they're just almost a mirror image of how we were at least the past few seasons under Coach Heupel. They want to spread the field, take those vertical shots down the field. It seems like every game they have at least a couple guys running wide open for touchdowns. And the quarterback's been pretty consistent about hitting those guys for the most part this year. Physical running backs. I think the O-line, they seem, I'm not sure their sizes, but just on film, they look bigger and a little bit slower. But they're try to be pretty physical, but I think our D line, even with guys out, I think we should have our way up front with those guys. And then like that kid you're talking about who's so fast, I'm not sure what number he is, but they got a kid I think is number 8, something like that. You watch the film, this guy is unbelievably fast. Like he's got a different gear, and he can get you because he'll come off the line because he's so fast. He can kind of tempo off the ball, maybe run like a 4.6. But then, and it looks like he's going full speed, but then kick into another gear and gets to like a 4.3, 4.2 type speed. And so that's type of stuff that can be deceiving on a DB that's covering that guy. So watch out for him because he can absolutely fly. Like I said, I think he's number 8. But yeah, this is a good team, man. We're gonna have our hands full. We'll see what Tim Banks has dialed up.
So I actually think that you're probably talking about number 3. So yeah,
3 had like Perez, I think.
Yeah, so 3 and then also 0. Like that's their 2 main guys. They're not the biggest players, but yeah, they can both fly. It's gonna put some stress on this defense for sure. So, and I would also say that with their offensive line, it's not horrible. So we'll go back and take a look at the stats here, right? If you look at their sacks that they've given up, they are they're number 52, but they're only averaging giving up 1.5 sacks per game. Now, Tennessee's doing a great job, man. Like we're getting close to 4 sacks per game. I'm not saying that. I think that it's going to be a little bit of a challenge, especially like for me. I think that most of the pressure that they've been giving up is coming from their guards, but they have one tackle, number 76. To me, he's a guy that we should be able to beat pretty easily. I'm not going to say pretty easily, but we should be able to beat him. You know what I'm saying? So we just need for our edge rushers for the pass rush period to really take that step forward. One of the things I love about Jackson Moore is that he's like a pass rushing specialist. We have defensive tackles that's really what they do. Hasn't necessarily looked so much that way because Bryson Eason with Dom Bailey, who, Dom has done a really, really good job. But as far as pass rush from the inside, Jackson Moore is just like a different level. And I think that we can get it done. Also, we talked about this. I want to say maybe on Patreon, we might have done this for everybody, P. But their center, he really gives away the whole game. He's going to look at who he's blocking, And if you understand blocking schemes, which our defense definitely does, if he's looking too far to his right or to his left, you know what sort of a blocking scheme this is going to be. But he's going to look at who he's blocking. So whether it's run, whether it's pass, I've seen him do it on some pass plays here recently. But it's little things like that I'm sure that our players have kind of like keyed in on. But yeah, we have got to be able to get pressure on Blake Shaven. And then, too, we haven't really talked about him, P, but he's a guy that he's not a run-first player, but he will run the football, and he's a capable runner. I think he has a pretty good arm. He's pretty accurate. He can throw the football pretty far. Not a super, super strong arm, but, yeah, I mean, they have some things with their offense that can kind of maybe worry you some. To me, it's mostly just going to be about, can we play out in space? Will we not bust on coverages? And can we get some pressure some sort of a way? But that's pretty much it for me. So, Pete, do you want to move on and talk about their defense versus our offense?
Yeah, man, this is a good defense. I know a lot of people. You look at Mississippi State and you say, "Hey, listen, that's not a top half of the league, team really in the SEC." But man, let me tell you, you watch them on film, especially on defense. I was really impressed with those guys. I mean, they absolutely fly around. They're a physical group. I mean, to me, just looking at how they play on film, this is just me.
Mm-hmm.
I like the way they play more than I like how Georgia looks on film when you watch them. I mean, like, these guys are actually playing hard. Now I'm not saying that they're better than Georgia's defense, but they actually play hard. Guys are fighting, trying to get off blocks. I mean, this is an aggressive defense. I'm not sure what the numbers look like for them, but this is not a bad defense. And we're gonna have our work cut out for us trying to move the ball on these guys.
Yeah, so these are the numbers, okay? And you can see that Tennessee is winning in most of the categories that we like to look at. We have a tougher strength of schedule. But, yeah, there are some things within their defense that you do like. They are generating turnovers at a pretty high clip. I think for me, the biggest thing is that their secondary, they got some guys like man-to-man coverage. To me, they just look better than playing in zone. To me, like their pass rush, it's not super great. I think that their linebackers are very disciplined. They're not the best athletes. So they've got some weaknesses, but you can tell that the mindset from the coaching staff, it is there. They will be well coached. They will be ready for this game. They'll have some things dialed up. But let me also show you all this, just kind of like breaking down their defense more, showing you the coverages that they've played the most so far this year. So quarters coverage at about 34%, cover 3 at about 29%. Those are just deeper coverages. And that was a huge problem for Tennessee last year because whenever we saw those coverages, we had to go underneath. But now we have real like route concepts. We have like a real offense. So we can find holes down the field some versus those types of deeper coverages. And then they're running cover 1 at almost 13%, which again, I think that they look really good there. Cover 2, 6.5. Cover 6 is also at 6.5. Cover 0, they're not very comfortable doing that just yet. That's only at about 3%. And I understand that because their linebackers won't be great in coverage. Now, as far as the pressure, their pressure rate is at 31%. Tennessee's is at about 35%. They only have, I think, like 4 sacks. Tennessee has like 14. So we're doing a much better job of closing for sure. But they are doing a pretty decent job of, generating pressure. They're blitzing at about 26.8%, almost 27%. That's pretty low. Most teams are going to be close to about 30, if not over 30. So they're low. And these numbers is pretty much what it was versus us last year, just to like let y'all know. Now, at number 3, they like to bring the cornerback blitz P at about 13.2%. Something for us to watch out for because now with the new elements in our system, running those boosts and things like that, cornerback blitzes, that can be a big time problem. So it's, styles make fights. We have to watch out for that for sure. And then number 4, they're bringing 5-man pressures at about 63%, 6-man pressures at about 8%. They have not brought any 7+ man pressures at all this year. I don't know if they'll try it this season, but let's go on ahead and take a look at them inside of this film room, Pete.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, man, and you'll see it right off the bat, man. These guys fly around. I mean, these guys are all over the place. You see the pressure rate 31%. I think you look at them on film, man. I mean, I see a number of different guys. For me, it's not necessarily just one guy. I think you said 43 is their leading guy in terms of sacks, but you'll see everyone kind of flash at different times. It's from the inside, from the outside. I think these guys really fight hard to get off blocks, and they show some pretty good pops, pretty good burst off the ball, man. I really like number 23. I think that's him right there, strong side DN. He looks good. They got another guy comes off the edge. Number 8 looks really good as well. So they do a really good job up front, I think. And then their backers, man. Their backers, same thing we said earlier, man. Like they fly to the ball, they try to get downhill. You will see them from time to time maybe kind of miss some run fits, which we'll get to here in a little bit as we go through the film here. But you see these guys, man, they're inside out, they're playing their gaps, sound, discipline, getting to the ball. But what you're going to kind of notice is not a ton of like speed. I think if you can maybe hit some outside zones, things like that, you can run right around these guys, right? And here you are seeing them hitting them up the middle. Whenever the D line doesn't get the push or the surge that they typically get, the backers tend to kind of get lost a little bit. They kind of get washed in the the bigger bodies of the offensive linemen kind of bury those guys. So look for us with our offensive line to be able to get a good push up front, which obviously makes life much more difficult for those backers. And then here you're looking at these guys playing some pass defense. I really like their DBs, especially their corners. I like number 1 a lot, long rangey guy. I mean, you see him there playing some press man. I mean, this guy, he's a physical corner, physical in the run game, but also, covering routes and things like that. So really like him a lot. I like the way their safeties play. I do think that we can attack their safeties. So I think their safeties do a pretty solid job staying deep here. You see them not letting and they get behind them. But I do think that there's things underneath. If you can kind of find that 15 to 20-yard intermediate range, I think you'll be able to get them there because they do tend to want to limit the big play down the field. And so, you can take advantage of that by hitting them underneath and things like that. So, for me, man, this is a really talented defense, in my opinion. I think you watch the film. I mean, they actually pop off the tape to me, an athletic group. But, I mean, just how we're operating offensively with the tighter splits and things like that, I think we can attack the middle of their defense, especially the linebackers, number 40. I think it's a really good run stopper. You put him in space, make him cover some pass routes down the field. I think this play here, you might see it. So you kind of can see him up top there. Number 40 was encouraged on that tight end, and he had to just kind of point to the safety. Hey, safety, pick him up because I didn't get him. Which, hey, kudos to the safety for seeing that, but that's what I'm talking about. Like, he's not great in coverage. So I think we'll have success moving the ball. It may be a little filling out process early on, but, I mean, I just think we have too much going offensively. We'll attack those linebackers, and I think that our O-line is just too good, and we'll be able to run the ball pretty successfully as well. So I think it's a good matchup for us overall.
Yeah, this is one of those matchups where we can kind of figure out more about this team. We can figure out how we're gonna, how do we beat different types of defenses, right? Because styles make fights. I'm gonna keep on saying that because it is so true. You can't just look at the logo on the side of somebody's helmet. You gotta know a little bit about like the schemes and things like that, which is what we do here. But yeah, I think P, everything that you just said, I'm just kind of like echo all that. Linebackers are not great in coverage, so our tight end should have a pretty good day. I think that Miles Kitselman, we know that he's pretty good out there catching passes. But Jack and definitely Brain, they should have a freaking field day. Running backs coming out of the backfield for sure. Safeties, I've noticed that whenever they're manned up in coverage, don't look the best. But those cornerbacks, that's something serious. And one of the clips there, like kind of towards the end, let me see if I can bring this back up for y'all and show you what I'm talking about. But on one of these clips, what you're going to see is, so yeah, here. Well, let me go back just a little bit. I think it's this one here. Watch. This is a ball that's just thrown up for grabs down the field, which we do a ton of. You see that they're closing on it and they're making a play on it because they have tall, long-rangey guys who can do that. I think that this is a game where we have to be very careful doing that type of stuff because that could really change the overall look of this game. I know that that's kind of like how Joey plays, but if he's going to throw it up for grabs down the field, he needs to do that a lot quicker than what he has been because now we're getting into SEC play, right? I mean, we know that we were able to kind of do it versus Georgia. Different style of defense. Styles make fights, but I feel confident with this offensive line holding up, even without David Sanders, who we haven't even seen so far this year. I think we're going to be perfectly fine. Hopefully he can get some reps. But running the football, P, that's one of my biggest things. Is like one of my biggest keys to this game. I think that we need to be able to average about 5 yards per carry. We've both talked about the outside zone, just kind of like getting their linebackers out in space more, making things flow. And if we can make some people miss on that second level, Tennessee is going to have a really, really good day. But yeah, I think we have to lean on our running game more to kind of like start it off. And then underneath passes, wide receivers, tight ends, running backs, making people miss, so on and so forth. Just be the better athletes, and I think the Tennessee should be fine.
Yeah. I mean, this is a big time matchup. Regardless of what anybody says, this is a big time matchup. This is a Mississippi State team that's 4-0. Anytime you got some of these teams, kind of like Mississippi State, some of these teams that kind of have been down for a while, and they get off to a good start, and then they got a ranked win. They got a what are we, a top 25 team, whatever we are, top 20 team coming into their building, a team a lot of people are looking at. Like a lot of people think we're one of the better teams in the country with how we played against Georgia, right? You got a wideout in your building. It's a coach from Coach Heupel's tree, whatever. Like, I expect these guys to come out fired up and play. And you look at the film; they pretty much always play fired up and hard. So I think they'll come out here and give us their best shot. They'll have some things dialed up. You heard AP and his bunch talking about this coming into it. Levy, Heupel are among the best in the country as far as scripting and kind of getting your team going. How much script does Levy have against our defense? Does the fact that Heupel knows Levy, how does that work for Tim Banks? Is he able to help Tim Banks maybe have an idea of what that script could be and maybe how he would script against us? Maybe that kind of helps him out. Who knows? But I think it's a game, man, we don't let these guys get going, kind of take the air out of that stadium early, go down the field, put some points on the board, and then get some stops on defense as well. Really make these guys try to play from behind, and I think you really got them right where you want them, because now they're starting to try to force the ball down the field, and I think that we'll be fine on the back end if we know that they're trying to take deep shots.
Yeah, and then something else that I'll also say is that I think that Tennessee's in a better spot as far as our defensive coordinator, or just like our defense period, understanding how to stop this offense versus Mississippi State's, because our offense is really not – we still have some of the elements to what they're running, but it is so different now that they're not going to have that. Like, we know how to stop it. Like, we just showed it to you. I mean, that is how you stop this sort of an offense. If NIU could do it, I have no idea why they switched that up. But if they can do it, then you know that we can do the exact same thing. It's just all about the different scheme principles and things like that. So I do think that Tennessee is in a really good spot from that standpoint. Now, let me get to this chat right here. I just saw this one. So this one is from Sam, saying that Joey only throws it up when it's one-on-one, not into traffic. I have to disagree with that. I've seen him throw it up into traffic several times this year. He does like to do it in one-on-one coverage, but he's done it in traffic too. It's just something that either way you got to be careful with it, especially because they have a cornerback that's 6'4", and I think that he could match up pretty well with Chris Brazzell, who I think is a better athlete for sure. But if he's like in a spot where he can make a play on the football with him being close to the same height, it's not as much of a 50-50 ball necessarily as what it was previously. It's not that many. We haven't seen that many 6'4" cornerbacks, but we will see more because Alabama's got, I think, maybe one or two, or they've got some big guys. So we have to, I think that this is more of like an underneath game. We might not see as many vertical passes, big time shots down the field. And if we do, the wide receivers have to be dogs. They got to go fight for the football. We cannot let it get intercepted. But with all that being said, P, do you want to go on ahead and get into the picks?
Yeah, let's do it.
Okay, so let's go on ahead and let's fast forward to these picks. Let me get this on up out of here. All right, so the first game is going to be LSU at Ole Miss at 3:30. It's coming up here pretty soon. And Ole Miss is favored by 1.5 points. The over-under is 57.5. I think that this game's got some pretty big implications. But, P, who do you got?
I mean, this one could go either way. You got really good defense in LSU versus a pretty high-powered offense in Ole Miss. I know Ole Miss, I'm not sure if they had a quarterback injury or if they're just playing multiple guys, but they got the guy Chambliss, who we talked about him as a guy we kind of looked at when we were looking for a quarterback. Really athletic guy, and he's a much better passer than I realized. And they got the Simmons kid as well, who's also does some really good things. Has a tendency to force it into coverage, though. So I'm not sure who the starter is anymore. I mean, I don't know. But either way, they're going to put up points. They have a good offense. LSU haven't really seen them pop much offensively. I mean, they just haven't really done much on the offensive side of the ball. So, I don't know what to expect from them. I don't think Ole Miss has a great defense. But, I mean, I don't know if LSU will be able to really expose that. I can't remember who I even picked for this game. I mean, I can see this game going either way. But for now, I said LSU. Hey, I wish I could change that because I think Ole Miss will win this one. But, I actually like that because I do think LSU's defense is good enough. And we saw Ole Miss struggle with Kentucky. If you watch that game, they had some struggles there. Can LSU score enough points? Because I think they'll limit them. I think they can keep Ole Miss under 20. But can LSU get to 21? I think that's going to determine the game.
Okay, yeah. So, number one, Simmons won't be playing today. And with the game being at Ole Miss, kind of like going through their stats, man, Ole Miss has got, I think it might be 5. Is it 4? Is it 5 pass catches with over 100 yards so far on this year. They have a tight end with over 200 yards. So, I mean, they're doing a great job of spreading the football out. The one thing that I was a little bit worried about with Ole Miss earlier in the year is that Simmons, he's too much of a gunslinger. He had 4 picks. But now this other kid that came in, he doesn't have any picks so far. So I think that their offense is going to be humming. I don't believe in LSU. They only have one wide receiver with over 100 yards, which is crazy. They have one guy that they really target. And I think it's pretty easy to be able to shut that down. I think that their quarterback, he had a whole lot of hype coming into this year. And I think the teams have just figured out how to slow down what he likes to do. So, of course, I'm going to be rolling with Ole Miss to win this game. And let's go on to the next one. So we have Auburn at Texas A&M. This game's going to be at 3:30, and Texas A&M is favored by 6.5 at home. Over-under is 53.5. Pete, who do you got?
Man, Auburn is coming off a really kind of emotional loss to Oklahoma. Emotional for the quarterback, Sam Arnold, whatever his name is, and or Jackson Arnold. Being playing his former team and all that. It was a really physical game. Oklahoma's got really good defense. I think these guys, man, I don't know. I can see them being a little bit beat up coming into this one. I haven't been very impressed with their offense. They don't really have much that threatens you offensively. Quarterback can run, but they got the Coleman kid at receiver. I think they got some decent receivers, but their passing game in terms of completing things across the middle of the field and just having good route concepts. I don't see a ton of that from those guys. I think A&M's a team. You look at Marcel Reed at quarterback, very mobile guy. Can do it all for you. They got a good run game, got some good offensive linemen up there as well. So I just think A&M is going to be too much offensively, and then combine that with the defense and as being in College Station, I got A&M pulling this one out and probably winning this one. I don't know what the spread is, but I got them probably covering the spread for sure in this one.
Yeah, I'm kind of feeling that too. Now, I mean, look, I could definitely see Auburn winning this just because like their offensive system, it's almost kind of like hit or miss, They have to find some type of a passing game. Yeah, Jackson Arnold, he can run, but they got to be able to throw the football better. He's got to, I think, like get rid of the football a little bit sooner. Like he holds on to it too much. And, I think that's like the biggest thing with their offense. But yeah, I mean, I see A&M pulling this one out, especially with them being at home. I think that their defense is going to show up and make some plays, probably get a few turnovers. And obviously, they have an offense that can do a lot of good things. Their offensive line, to me, has looked pretty good so far. So I would feel pretty confident that they're definitely going to win, maybe cover. I think that the spread is like 6.5, but I could see them covering. So next game. This is another big one, man. There's so many good games on today. So we got Oregon at Penn State. At 7:30, and James Franklin and his whole bunch, man, they're favored by 3.5 points at home. 53.5 is the over under. And P, you got to see one of your teammates from college. Both of y'all played for Coach Franklin, and it's to me one of the things I love Coach Franklin, of course, but he was like, yeah, I was just talking to him the other day. He ain't changed his number or nothing. So it's just like things like that makes you want to see Penn State win. But do you think that they can pull it out versus a very good Oregon team?
Man, we'll see. This is going to be a good game, I think. I mean, first of all, yeah, we love Coach Franklin. I know a lot of Tennessee fans, you hate him, and I can definitely see why you would hate him as a Tennessee fan when he was at Vandy. But just because you didn't get to know him. I mean, I don't want to, toot his horn or whatever, but I mean, listen, great guy. We love him. So for me, I'll go and tell you right now, I'll go on spoiler alert. I'm pretty much always gonna bet on Coach Franklin. Just because I want him to win. So you know what, I'm picking him. I'm going for him. I mean, I think, hey, they have a very good roster. I'm not sure what the numbers are in terms of the blue chip and stuff. They might have a better roster than Oregon. I mean, I don't know. I mean, I know they're up there. They have a really, really good roster. A lot of team speed on defense. They play fast. They're physical. They'll get up in your face, play man coverage. They'll blitz and get exotic with some things. Have a really good defensive line as well. For the Penn State, man, it's just been a deal. It just seems like in these big games, they always somehow just kind of blow it. You know what I mean? And I mean, heck, a lot of that is quarterback play inconsistent. The offensive play calling has been kind of stagnant at times. So I just think Franklin kind of being in these spots, building a reputation of a guy that can't win these big games. I think that he's got some stuff dialed up for this one. I think they'll come out, they'll jump on these guys early, and then I think they'll be able to hold on to it using the home field advantage. So, I got Penn State pulling this one out, like 31 to 24 type game, something like that.
Yeah, of course, man. I'm the same way. I pretty much always cheer for Coach Franklin, but We talked about this too way back in spring. You know, I'm watching clips of those guys, how they're practicing, looking at the level of talent that they have. Dude, I mean, they should be a for real national contender. They are freaking loaded. And I love how they practice. It's a lot of things that they do to me that makes just like logical sense. So, yeah, I think that they can get this one done. I'm hoping that it's a pretty big margin because I am kind of, you know, obviously for like personal reasons, I get tired of people talking about Coach Franklin can't win the big one, which he hasn't. Oh, you know, he hasn't proven that, I guess, like enough. But I think that this year he's going to prove it. I actually have Penn State making a real run at a national title. So, yes, I have them winning this one. And let's go on to this one right here. Boo, you already know who we picking on this one. So we got Alabama down in Athens, one of the worst towns that you can ever go to. I mean, one of the worst. Everything about it sucks. The stadium is a freaking joke. You're going to have people barking at you. It's just, listen, roll freaking Tide. You know, I will never say it ever again unless they're playing up against Georgia. Absolutely can't stand them. The game's at 7:30. They have Georgia only favored by 2.5 points at home. Over under is 54.5. Kirby's only beat Alabama, what, P, like once or something? They've played 8 or 9. I mean, they've played so many times. He's just mentally, I don't think that he can get past it. But I'm gonna let you do your pick, P.
Yeah, I mean, everybody knows we can't stand those guys, but you know what? I try to put that aside. Like when I'm breaking down the film, I put that aside, okay? And hey, I know same for you too.
Yep.
Listen, we said this after Bama lost to Florida State. Okay, I know it's a Florida State team that lost to Virginia. Listen, Florida State. I mean, I don't saw bits and pieces of that game. Florida State. I mean, they were dominating that. It was just one of those weird games. Like, you know, they say, hey, 99% chance to win. Well, there's the one chance you could lose. Like that was kind of the one loss scenario for them in that. But anyway, Bama versus Florida State. We said, hey, listen, we watched the film. This is still a really, really good Bama team. It just didn't sound like they were kind of buying in all the way. They were just doing some things schematically. It didn't really make sense. But I think they've picked it up since then. They're really good across the board from a talent perspective. One of the few teams that can truly say, hey, we match up toe-to-toe. We may be even better than Georgia, right? Just from a talent perspective. I think Kellen DeBoer's a guy gets a bad rap for kind of the road issues they had last year against Vandy, Oklahoma, teams that should have beat, went out there and lost to them. Listen, I think he gets up for the big games, okay? This is a big one. I think he has things drawn up. He has things schemed up for these games. I expect Bama's offense to have success because, listen, we haven't seen Georgia's D-line. They haven't wowed you. I mean, listen, like I said, I was watching Mississippi State, and I mean, I might have been more impressed. I don't want to say that because, listen, the guys Georgia's got, like, I mean, they're bigger, they're stronger, they're faster, yes, but like just the way they're playing, like they're not popping off the tape at all. They haven't got a sack from the D-line all year. Their backers look a little bit. I mean, they look much slower. I mean, the secondary doesn't wow you. I mean, you saw how we were just torching these guys.
Yeah,
I mean, we're just torching these guys. So I think Georgia's gonna have a hard time stopping them. And they get Jam Miller back, Bama. Jam Miller, their best running back, he's back. So I mean, he's gonna be running the ball. I think Ty Simpson is much better than people give him credit for. And then you look at the other side of the ball, Georgia's offense. I think that quick screen stuff with what Bama has, talk about their secondary. They're 6'2", 6'3", 6'4", 6'5" across the board, 4-3 guys, very talented. And this is a game you're not gonna have to question Bama's effort in this one. They get up for this one. They can't stand those guys. And so I expect to see these guys flying around. I mean, they're physical up front too. I mean, their D-line gets off the ball. I just think Georgia's gonna have a hard time sustaining drives and scoring points. It's gonna come down to Bobo, which people are hard on Bobo. Listen, he has a tendency from time to time to really have some good scripts and some good game plans to manufacture points. I think that's the only way they score. He's gonna have to manufacture. He's gonna have to manufacture like 4 or 5 touchdowns. He's gonna have to he's gonna have all those like drawn up and know when to use them and hit them. Because if he doesn't, they don't get. I don't know if they get 14 points in this. I mean, they're gonna have a tough time scoring on this Bama defense. I got Bama winning this one by a large margin.
Yeah, I'm about the same way. Just because the biggest thing, like you touched on, Georgia's offense right now, it is a high school offense. Like the offense that beat us in Knoxville, that was screens and vertical passes, and we're just gonna keep on running it, even though we're not really doing anything running it. I think that Alabama's going to match up a lot better versus that type of stuff because, honestly speaking, Alabama is a more talented team than Tennessee is. You know, I think that their cornerbacks and all that is going to be, and then they're going to be able to get the pass rush. We just saw that Ernest Green, he's out for this game at right tackle. We saw what the right side of their offensive line looked like. It ain't the same, okay? Like their team really ain't the same. I feel like Alabama's not just going to win, but I think that they're going to win big, like you said. Ty Simpson, he's a very accurate passer. I think versus Georgia's defense, you want to try to throw the football. Now, what I don't like about Alabama's offense is their like running scheme. Their running scheme might be worse than Georgia's. It's about on the same level. It's really bad. But getting back Jam, Georgia's run defense isn't great anyway. I really think that this one is going to get ugly. Okay, I think it's going to get very ugly very, very quickly. And Tennessee fans are hopefully, I mean, I know that some will probably think that, well, Tennessee must suck. No. Styles make fights. Styles make fights. So, yes, I do have Alabama winning this one, and I have them definitely covering that spread. I have them winning big. I have them winning by, I'm gonna call it about 14 points, Pete. All right, so here we go. This is the game of the day for us as ball fans. Mm-hmm. Tennessee at Mississippi State at 4:15. And the Vols, and we do this on Friday nights, but the Vols were favored by 7.5. I don't know what it is right at this second, but it's probably pretty close to that. The over-under is 63.5, which means that Vegas thinks that there's going to be a whole lot of points scored in this one. But, P, why are you picking the Vols to go down to Starkville and take care of business?
Well, I mean, I think it starts with us having a better roster. I think we're better across the board. Mississippi State hasn't seen a team like us, which I mean doesn't really mean anything, but they haven't seen a team like us. I think you look at both sides of the line of scrimmage. I think we're just much better than anything they faced. I think offensively we'll be able to get good push in the run game. We're gonna have success running the ball. I think we'll pretty much run it when we want to. You know what I mean? I don't think we're gonna have to worry about it's a 3rd and 1. We don't think we can get that yard. No, I mean I think we'll be very confident and be able to get that. I think defensively as well, the D line we have, especially the guys off the edge, Josh Josephs, Ross, those guys, Caleb Herring, they haven't seen anybody. I mean, you go watch them play NIU. I mean, you wouldn't believe how slow. I mean, these guys. I mean, I'm not gonna talk. But I mean, they haven't seen guys 6'5", 245, 4.4 type guys coming off the edge. I think that's going to be a little bit of a. I don't say it's going to be a shock because they're SEC guys. They've seen it before. But I mean, we're going to be getting off the ball. And then interiorly, especially with Jackson Moore, some of those guys, I think it's going to be too much up front. I think we're going to create pressure. We're going to limit them in the run game. It's going to come down to those backers. Can those guys play in space? And then those safeties, can we avoid, giving up the big play on some of those switch releases, things like that. But I think we're going to limit all that crazy stuff. I got the Vols winning this one. What's the spread? 63.5. I mean, I got us putting up probably about 40. I'll say, I'm going to call this one about 41 to like 17. We'll give them.
Wow.
So, okay. So I guess I'm betting the under if my math's correct on that one.
Yeah, I don't even feel like doing it, but yeah, it sounds like it probably is under because it's like 63.5. Okay. Yeah. So for me, I mean, everything that you said, man, I just think that, I feel like maybe the game, I feel like it's going to end up being closer than that just because Levy can dial some things up, really, like last year, that game was closer than I thought it was going to end up being. He has a tendency to just keep it close enough. They have a lot more talent than they had last year. We've got Arion Carter is banged up. How do the young guys look coming in? Because, I mean, not all of our linebackers can play well out in space. You know what I'm saying? And they will get you with some of the misdirection stuff that they do. We showed you how their running game looks. A lot of it looks the exact same, but it's something else. And having the young players out there, if you're not used to seeing it, it could throw you off. If you're off by just like a split second, if you miss your gap, whatever, by like a split second, they can run for a long, long, long ways. I don't love the way that we've tackled, with our safeties. And I mean, some of them have looked pretty good. Andre Turntine, I still don't like what I'm seeing from him. Stars have missed several tackles. The cornerback's got to step up. We're kind of banged up front. So I'm not trying to make it sound like, I think Tennessee's going to lose by any means. I'm just pointing out some of the things that I'm worried about. Obviously, we've talked about it with their defense. Their secondary is very good. I do not like the idea of just throwing the football up, right? Like just throwing it up to our guys necessarily. I think that they can come down with it. Hopefully, sometimes, most of the time. But, I mean, it's just there's a lot of different variables and factors with how we play that I think Mississippi State matches up well-versed. But I do have us winning this game, and I'm going to call it 45-30, Pete. I think that Tennessee wins this one by more than 2 scores, and I could definitely see it being closer than that, going on the road with the cowbells, so on and so forth. I'm hoping that we can get over all that, but I just think that this one is – I don't think it's as much of a blowout as some people might think. Doesn't mean that Tennessee sucks. It just means we're playing up against a good team that matches up well with us. But that's going to do it, P. Do you have any more do you have any, closing thoughts?
Last thing I'll say is, one of the keys to the game, I think, will be Joey Aguilar. How's he handle the road environment? First SEC road game. I think he'll be fine. He's been fine all year. Hasn't raised his heartbeat at all. I don't think all season. So if he can maintain that, and we can avoid all the daggum false starts, I think we'll be fine in this one.
Okay, sounds good. Well, hey, listen, y'all. Thank y'all so much. Sorry we couldn't get to more of the chats, but we will be back. Obviously post game and everything else, and we'll share our thoughts about hopefully what this victory looks like, and we'll be chiming in with the chat a lot more in that one. But thank y'all. Please make sure to like and subscribe to the channel, and we'll be talking to y'all here in a few short hours. Thanks. Peace. Thanks for watching, and please make sure to like and subscribe to the channel because that keeps us growing inside of the YouTube algorithm. And if you did like this video, here's another one that you might also enjoy. Thank you. We'll see you on the next one. Peace.